full season predictions for the 2024 MLB season, starting with the AL East. Fifth place is going to be the Boston Red Sox. 74-88 is the record I have, as they're going to be 20 games back. I just don't believe in their pitching, especially since Lucas Giolito went down with an injury. My top three WAR is Rafael Devers. I think Wilyer Abreu is going to be second in Rookie of the Year. I'll get to that later. I think he's going to have a phenomenal year in the event he does play. And I have Cutter Crawford being their best pitcher at third in WAR. Fourth place in the division, I have the Tampa Bay Rays going 83-79, being 11 games back in the division. I do really like their rotation. I think it's interesting because their four best pitchers from last year either went down due to injury during the year last year or just got traded this offseason. I still do like their rotation with the trade for Ryan Pepio. You have Zach Eflin still. You do still have a solid rotation with a good bullpen, great coaching staff, and all solid offense. I just think, they lose their top WAR player from last year. It's going to be difficult to do the same thing again. I have Yandy Diaz leading them in WAR with Randy Arozarena in second in WAR, and Zach Eflin being their ace in WAR in their staff with a 3 WAR. In third place in the division, I got the Toronto Blue Jays going 87-75. Being 7 games back. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is, in my opinion, going to figure it all out. You got Bo Bichette. You got a really, really solid rotation. I just think a lot of their rotation pieces may be disappointing to some people. You got a solid bullpen. You also bring in Joey Votto. I think their offense is good. They just have to figure something out. I think George Springer's on the downturn. You got your offense in the outfield is really not that good, in my opinion, with Dalton Varsho, George Springer, and Kevin Kiermaier. And you're seeing your catcher position you're not sure because Danny Jansen's injured. WAR, number one, in my opinion, will be Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I think he could potentially contend for an MVP this year. Second in WAR, in my opinion, will be Bo Bichette, playing a premium position, still an amazing hitter. And Kevin Gausman, supposed to miss opening day, supposed to be injured. I'm pretty sure he's going to be injured to start the season. I still think he will be great. In second place, I've got the New York Yankees going 90-72. They're a really good team. The thing that worries me the most is Garrett Cole's injury, hoping that he comes back. I think Carlos Rodon will bounce back in the rotation. You got Nestor Cortez, who I think will bounce back. You brought in Marcus Stroman. Your rotation is strong. I think it's just about people staying healthy. You have Clark Schmidt as well. Your bullpen was really strong last year. You're hoping that can continue. You made the big offseason trade to acquire Juan Soto. I think that's a huge deal. You add to the offense without having to really get rid of anybody of amazing value to you from last year. I think Volpe is going to improve on what he did a year ago. I think that Verdugo is going to have a strong season, a strong showing. Rizzo's going to bounce back. Gleyber Torres will have a great year. I think the leader in WAR for this team will be Judge. Second will be Soto. And third will be a Carlos Rodon bounce back year. Which means I have the division winner being the Baltimore Orioles at 94-68. I think they're going to be a little bit worse than last year just because a lot of offensive guys overperformed. But the rotation is returning similar because your ace from last year is going to be hurt to start the year, but you did trade for Corbin Burns. That was a big addition to the team this offseason. You got Corbin Burns, hopefully Kyle Bradish if he's healthy. I think Grayson Rodriguez is insane and could potentially be the ace of this pitching staff once Burns probably leaves in free agency. Then you also have Dean Kramer, you have Cole Irvin, and you also have John Means, and there's one other guy that I'm forgetting at this exact moment. Also, their offense is insane. I have their WAR leader being Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman in second, Corbin Burns in third. The AL Central. Fifth place, one of the worst teams in baseball, the Chicago White Sox at 63-99. They traded away Dylan Cease a few days ago. They got no talent, to be entirely honest with you. Other than Luis Robert, it's really difficult to see what they're going to be doing. Their catcher position is old guys, Martin Maldonado. Andrew Vaughn has never really figured it out. You got Yohan Moncada at third, what is he doing? Paul DeJong looking for a bounce-back year. you don't really have that many pieces that you trust, that you believe in when it comes to this team. Luis Robert is really the only sure thing. Your bullpen doesn't really look that strong. To be fair, you did trade for, I think it was the White Sox who traded for Soroka. I think it's interesting to see what this team has become after just a couple years ago being a strong up-and-coming team. I think their WAR leader is going to be Luis Robert Jr., Yohan Moncada second, and Andrew Vaughn third. Fourth place in the division, I think a team that's going to be the most improved team. The Royals going 75 and 87. A lot of people are high on the Royals, and I can see why. They added Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha, two solid pieces. Cole Reagans is really, really a very good pitcher who I think is going to be a bona fide ace going forward. You've got Jordan Lyles in there and Brady Singer as well. I think the additions they made, Bobby Witt Jr. is amazing. You got MJ Melendez, who I think is going to have a strong showing this year. And Nelson Velasquez, who I forgot to mention in the Royals preview, was really good last year with an 888 OPS in 53 games. And he hits the ball really, really hard. And I really do believe that he's a very good player. Overall, I have Bobby Witt winning in WAR with Cole Reagans in second, Nelson Velasquez in third. In third place, I got the Detroit Tigers at 77 and 85. I just do not believe the hype in the Tigers. They lost Eduardo Rodriguez, who was their best pitcher a year ago. They added Kenta Maeda and Jack Flaherty, who are two older guys. Maybe Flaherty's not that old, but two guys who are not really strong players. Like, they're not great players anymore. And you lost your main starter, and we're assuming Colt Keith is going to come up and be really good, who I still can believe that. But other than Tariq Skubal, I really don't like their rotation because it's Matt Manning and Reese Olson, two guys who aren't proven. And then at catcher, you got, I can't remember who their catcher is. Give me a second. Jake Rogers is going to be really good. I just don't fully believe in the hype. I think Spencer Torkelson's going to be good. Riley Green's good. Mark Canha is not that great. Javier Baez is not going to bounce back, in my opinion. I just don't see the hype with this team winning the division. I have Tariq Skubal being a Cy Young caliber player, being the leader in WAR, with Riley Green in second, Spencer Torkelson in third. Second place in the division for me is the Cleveland Guardians at 82 and 80. The rotation's really good. The bullpen's really solid. I just don't think they added enough offensively. I don't think offensively they're strong enough. Andres Gimenez is an amazing defender. Not a great offensive piece. You're hoping Kyle Manzardo can make the big leagues and be one of the best hitters on the team. You're hoping DeLauder can maybe come up and be good at some point during the year. Or you hope Brennan can bounce back or Miles Straw can figure something out. The shortstop is a question mark. Although I do think that this rotation is at least top 5 in baseball. I think Andres Gimenez, because of his defense, is going to lead in WAR. Jose Ramirez in second. Shane Bieber in third. And I have the Twins winning the division at 86 and 76. I just really like their top 3. Pablo Lopez, I think, could win the Cy Young this year. Joe Ryan could end up being a Cy Young contender. He's really good. Bailey Ober is insane. I am worried about Chris Paddock as the 4. And the other guy, who I can't remember off the top of my head, who's the 5. I just don't fully trust those two guys. Louis Varland, who's a bullpen arm, who was a bullpen arm last year with DeSclafani, going to be coming back at some point. Even though he's got elbow soreness, maybe he's out for a while. They got one of the best relievers in baseball in Johan Duran. In my opinion, the guy who's going to be a reliever of the year in the AL. And their offense is really strong. Matt Wallner, I think, is going to have a huge season. Carlos Correa is going to bounce back. I think Royce Lewis... I would honestly not be shocked if Royce Lewis went out and won the MVP. I don't know if I already said Correa is going to bounce back. Kepler's really good. Give Ryan Jeffers a full year at catcher. Edward Julien was really good last year. Do you think he can continue? I think so. For me, the WAR leaders are going to be Royce Lewis at 1, Pablo Lopez at 2, and Carlos Correa at 3 for the Minnesota Twins. The AL West has the worst team in baseball, the Oakland A's, who I think are going to be 5th in the division at 51 and 111. The team sucks. They're going to be a homeless team after this year, as they don't have a deal to move to Las Vegas yet. They don't have like a ballpark deal, although that's what the assumption is. They're going to be the Las Vegas A's. unless they're looking at getting a different name when they move to Las Vegas. We'll see what that story is. They're just bad. They have Zach Geloff, who's pretty good. Ryan Noda's solid. Brent Rooker was solid a year ago. Other than that, though, like Shea Langeliers, maybe. They just don't have that much. They brought in J.D. Davis, who's not bad. And Ross Stripling and Alex Wood were also signed. A lot of the rejects of the San Francisco Giants from across the bay. I just don't really believe in this team. They're not that good, and I just don't believe in them. I have Zach Geloff winning in WAR as he was really good in his short stint in the big leagues last year. Ryan Noda in second as he walks a lot, doesn't really I think that's something that can continue. And I have J.D. Davis in third. When I originally made these predictions, J.D. Davis was still a San Francisco Giant. I was like, I didn't know his role there. But yeah, I originally had Brent Rooker here, but I think J.D. Davis is better than Brent Rooker. In fourth place, the team that lost Ohtani, the Los Angeles Angels, going 72-90, losing one more game than a year ago after losing Ohtani. I don't think this team looks that bad. Rotation has Detmers, Patrick Sandoval, Tyler Anderson might bounce back. I don't think that's a bad three. The Angels are not a bad team. The problem is you'll lose one of the best players ever. Obviously the best player in baseball when he's on. You're not going to be that good without him. The lineup, Logan O'Hoppe, I really like Logan O'Hoppe. I think Brandon Drury's pretty solid. I think Taylor Ward's going to bounce back. I wouldn't be shocked if Anthony Rendon all of a sudden is a great player again. And again, you still have Mike Trout. Nolan Shanuel is an interesting guy. I don't believe they're that good. Number one in WAR is going to be Mike Trout as long as he stays healthy. Taylor Ward 2, Logan O'Hoppe 3. In third place, I have the defending champion Texas Rangers at 88-74, only one game apart from the second place team. They're the defending champs. You got to give them the benefit of the doubt. I originally didn't even have them making the playoffs, but I was like, man, their offense is so good. Corey Seager has that sports hernia surgery that happened. It's kind of worrisome, but I think he's fine. I think he'll be fine. Like the reports are that he's going to be playing on opening day. They also have Adolis Garcia. They have Evan Carter. Wyatt Langford's supposed to be up. Nathaniel Lowe when he's healthy. Even Justin Foskey is not bad. Marcus Semien, Josh Young, Jonah Heim. Leody Taveras is their worst hitter, and he's amazing. So, not amazing, he's an average hitter, but if that's your worst hitter, and then their rotation, they got two built-in trades with Scherzer and DeGrom mid-season, and the rotation isn't necessarily bad without them. John Gray, Dane Dunning, and Nathan Eovaldi is not a bad three. You have Cody Bradford as well. They don't have a bad rotation. It's just like, hey, if you can get Jordan Montgomery back, maybe I would say they're going to maybe compete a little bit more for the division. But as of today, they don't have Jordan Montgomery. I have Corey Seager leading in WAR as long as he's healthy. I don't know what the story is there, but I have Corey Seager leading in WAR, Adolis Garcia in 2, Evan Carter in 3, having an amazing rookie year. Second place, I've got Seattle Mariners at 89-73. I think Julio Rodriguez is an MVP candidate. Mitch Haniger is going to come back and be a little bit more comfortable. You traded for Jorge Polanco. I really like that addition. Cal Raleigh's a really good catcher. And you also, J.P. Crawford's a good hitter all of a sudden. Then at the pitching spot, you have one of the best starting fives in the league with Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Bryce Miller, Brian Wu. That five in the rotation is incredible. And Brian Wu and Bryce Miller are a little bit more question marks, but I still think those two guys are good. You also have Andres Munoz, who's a really good reliever. And again, that strong offense. I got Julio Rodriguez leading in WAR with Luis Castillo in second and George Kirby in third, with a lot of guys just right behind George Kirby. And the winner of the division, in my opinion, and the team that's going to be the best team in the AL, I got the Houston Astros at 98-64. They added Josh Hader to an already amazing bullpen, who now has Brian Abreu, who had a really low ERA last year, and to Ryan Presley. It's incredible to see how good their bullpen is. Their rotation is also not bad. They have Framber Valdez, who's looking to bounce back, Christian Javier, who's looking to bounce back, who they early signs show that they will. Hunter Brown, who I think is really good. They got J.P. France as well. And then you have Verlander coming back at some point. McCullers is trying to come back in June. you have a really good rotation when those two guys come back, and you're hoping Urquidy isn't too hurt. I have Kyle Tucker leading this team in WAR, with Yordan Alvarez in second and Alex Bregman in third. The NL East. In my opinion, the worst team in the NL East is the Washington Nationals. I think they're greatly improved, but I have them having the same record at 71 and 91. It's just kind of how the predictions went. I could really see this team maybe even competing for that 6th wildcard spot at some points during the year. I just don't trust their rotation. Josiah Gray overperformed a lot of his numbers a year ago. I really do believe in Mackenzie Gore as the ace of this rotation. Other than that, they have Trevor Williams and Patrick Corbin as well. Just, I don't truly believe in this rotation at all. Their bullpen's okay. I like Hunter Harvey, and I think, Kyle Finnegan, I believe. I think Hunter Harvey is really good. Their offense, Kyber Ruiz, I think is going to pick it up this year. CJ Abrams, I think, is going to be really solid. You got a lot of outfield. Like, you got James Wood, Robert Hassel, and Dylan Cruz. All three of those guys could make the big leagues in the outfield. It's just a matter of, is Eddie Rosario, Joey Gallo, who else? They have Stone Garrett, who I forgot to mention, who I think could be really good. They also have Alex Call, Jesse Winker. They have so many outfielders, and Lane Thomas, that I don't know if James Wood or Dylan Cruz, those two main guys, are going to make it to the big leagues to start. But I think they've got a really, really bright future ahead of them. In my opinion, WAR leaders are going to be Mackenzie Gore 1, Kyber Ruiz 2, Hunter Harvey 3. Set in 4th place, I've got the team that made the playoffs last year, the Miami Marlins, 76 and 86. I think the problem is that they won too many one-run games. Their bullpen is not really that elite, but their rotation, man, I really like Yuri Perez if he's healthy. We don't know what that injury is just yet. And Jesus Luzardo is a pretty solid pitcher as well. The WAR leaders I had was Yuri Perez 1, Jazz Chisholm 2, Jesus Luzardo 3, but I'm going to have to make a quick audible in the event that Yuri Perez is not healthy. I have the closer Tanner Scott being 3rd in WAR behind Chisholm and Luzardo. In the event that it comes out Yuri Perez is not healthy enough to compete. In 3rd place, I have got the New York Mets at 79 and 83, which would be just barely out of the postseason. I think they're going to improve. Kodai Senga is supposed to be out to start the year. I still think he's the best pitcher on this team by far. But you do have Jose Quintana. Tyler McGill is in there as well. I don't remember everybody in this rotation. They have kind of like a rotation. Like you're not confident about them. But offensively, I really do like them. I think Lindor is going to be an MVP candidate. Pete Alonso is an unbelievable hitter. Brandon Nimmo's really a solid hitter as well. Francisco Alvarez, I think, is going to be good. Like, you have a good group of guys. You have Severino and Minaya in the rotation, and Edwin Diaz coming back, being healthy. I think you win 4 more games. I think the WAR leader is going to be Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, then Kodai Senga. In the event Senga's too hurt, maybe Pete Alonso, Edwin Diaz could be in there as well. 2nd place, I have the Phillies winning 88 games. They're basically returning a lot of the same team. You got Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez. I really like that top 3. Taijuan Walker's not bad. I think Christopher Sanchez is going to end up being the 4th starter, maybe even the 3rd starter by year's end over Ranger Suarez. I think Zach Wheeler is a Cy Young contender, if not going to win the Cy Young. You got Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, were both MVP candidates. Then you have Schwarber, who's an elite hitter. You got Bryson Stott is pretty good. JT Realmuto is pretty good. This offense is unbelievable. The pitching staff is really good. The bullpen is Jose Alvarado and Sir Anthony Dominguez. I have them winning 88 games, with Zach Wheeler leading in WAR, Bryce Harper 2nd, and Trey Turner 3rd, as I have the Braves winning 103 games, being in 1st. I have them as the best team in baseball. Man, their team is insane. The rotation is really good with Strider and Fried heading up their rotation. And then you have Acuna, the reigning MVP, Sean Murphy, and Austin Riley, who are really good offensive players. Kelnick, you're probably going to be able to figure him out, and he's going to be insane. You also have Ozzy Albies, and there's plenty of other names within this team that are strong players I haven't mentioned, with Acuna as WAR player 1, Sean Murphy 2, Austin Riley 3. Not to mention for the Braves that I have Austin Riley as a 3rd WAR guy, not even mentioning that I think Spencer Strider could win Cy Young. On to the NL Central, where I think the Pirates are going to be the 5th place team, but they're only going to miss out on the division by 9 games, only going to miss out on the playoffs by 6 games at 75 wins. I think they're going to be in playoff contention. I really do like their Mitch Keller. I like Mitch Keller. I think that he's a very, very good starting pitcher. There's also some other pitchers here. I'm going to let Fangraphs load for a minute. They also have some solid offensive pieces, such as Henry Davis finally getting an opportunity. I like Jack Sawinski. I think Brian Reynolds, O'Neal Cruz is going to come in and be solid. I just don't know that their offense is up to par with everyone else in this division. But their rotation is headed up by Mitch Keller with some, like Martin Perez and Mark Gonzalez are okay. I think Roansy Contreras is going to find his way back into that rotation at some point during the year. I just don't fully trust their team. WAR, I think it's going to be Brian Hayes 1, Brian Reynolds 2, and Mitch Keller 3. I just don't think O'Neal Cruz is going to be good enough. I think he's going to be a little bit too strikeout prone to be that top guy. In 4th place, I have the most disappointing team of 2023, the St. Louis Cardinals, winning 78 games, improving by 7 wins. I just don't trust the rotation. Sonny Gray's really good, but he's also injured to start the year. Lance Lynn gives up a ton of homers. They got such an old team. They got Lance Lynn. They got, what's his name? Steven Matz. They also have Miles Michaelis. They brought in Kyle Gibson. I just don't fully trust that pitching staff with how old they are. Their offense is really good. I really like Nolan Gorman. He's really good. I really think Arenado's still going to be solid. Paul Goldschmidt's really good. Wilson Contreras is really good. Lars Nootbaar is really good. Jordan Walker is really good. There's so many guys who are good in this offense. They have one of the best offenses in baseball. It's really just about their pitching staff. Don't trust it. Leaders in WAR, Paul Goldschmidt 1, Nolan Gorman 2, Wilson Contreras 3. 3rd place, I have the defending division champion Brewers going 80 and 82. I have them missing out on the playoffs by 1 game, as I have the 2nd place team winning 81 games. I have the Brewers missing out on the playoffs and missing out on the division by just 4 games. They traded away Corbin Burns. That was the big thing in the offseason. I still think Freddie Peralta is really solid, which is, I think man, who are their other starters? They have Jacob Junis, who I think Colin Ree is going to be good. DL Hall, who they traded for in the going to get back to his right now their rotation has Hunter Green in it. They have Frankie Montas, who I think is really good. They got, in my opinion, the guy who's going to be the best guy, Nick Martinez. His expected stats are pretty solid. Their biggest thing is Ellie De La Cruz, the hype train that Ellie De La Cruz is. He might disappoint. In my opinion, he's going to be insane this upcoming year in a full season. I'm just worried about the strikeouts. The hitters are really good. They bring in Heimer Candelario in the offseason, a big signing, especially now that Noelvi Marte got that 80-game suspension. Christian Encarnacion Strand has been was solid in his time in the big leagues. You're hoping Matt McClain stays healthy. He had over an 800 OPS in the regular season last year, with Will Benson, in my opinion, going to be improving. TJ Friedl had a solid year, hoping to build on that. It's in Spencer Steer too. Their offense is solid. They have a really good offense. I think their pitching staff is kind of up to par if Nick Lodolo can come back healthy and good. I have Ellie De La Cruz leading in WAR with Matt McClain and Nick Martinez following them. And I have the division winner being the Chicago Cubs at 84 wins. The worst division winner in baseball with 84 wins. I just don't think they're that amazing, the whole division. To be fair, they bring back Cody Bellinger, but he's going to move over to first. You got Morel and Wisdom on the other side. The catcher position is Yan Gomes, Miguel Amaya, kind of that group of guys. In the outfield, Pete Crow Armstrong's going to take over that center field spot. I think Seiya Suzuki's really good, and Ian Happ is amazing as well. Pitching staff, Shota Imanaga will be the ace by the end of the year. Justin still a very solid pitcher. I just don't think he will be the ace by year's end. I think that you also have Hayden Wesneski is in that rotation. I know he's got a really good slider from what I remember from Pitching Ninja. You do have a solid rotation. Jameson Taillon, you're hoping can come back and be healthy. I really do like the team. You're hoping Bellinger can build on what he did last year, get that like elite power back as well. And I have them winning 84 games with Dansby Swanson being the WAR number 1, Bellinger number 2, Shota Imanaga number 3. Last but not least, the NL West, I have the Rockies in 5th at 60 and 102. I just don't really like their team that much. Their pitching staff is always going to struggle with their main headliners being Kyle Freeland and Kyle Quantrill. In Coors Field, it's going to be difficult. Offensively, Nolan Jones, I think, is going to decline a little bit. He's their best hitter by far. They really just don't have that much talent on the field, with Nolan Jones WAR 1, Ezekiel Tovar WAR 2, Ryan McMahon WAR number 3. The San Francisco Giants. The San Francisco Giants are the second team, 78 and 84 in my opinion. They have a really solid top of the rotation, or ace in Logan Webb. Logan Webb is a really good pitcher. You got Camilo Doval in the bullpen and the Rogers twins as well. The worrisome thing for this rotation is Kyle Harrison's young, and Jordan Hicks has never really been a full-time starter before. You did trade for Robbie Ray, who you're hoping can come back in June or so. Alex Cobb had hip surgery, so who knows if he's ever going to get back to the way he was before the surgery. At catcher, you got an elite defender at Patrick Bailey. Jung-Hoo Lee was a big signing, and you also signed Jorge Soler, some big signings. You also brought in Matt Chapman. So that's 3 offensive guys. Jung-Hoo Lee, question mark. Jorge Soler, inconsistent, and same thing with Matt Chapman, but you're hoping they can put it together. Marco Luciano was going to be the shortstop, but now it's Nick Ahmed. I got Logan Webb winning in WAR, Matt Chapman in second now, and I had Marco Luciano in third, but now that it looks like he's not going to start at shortstop, I'm changing it to Camilo Doval. And in third place, I have the Padres missing the playoffs by 1 game at 80 and 82. They just traded for Dylan Cease a few days ago. I really like their top 2 of Musgrove and Cease. I think Yu Darvish is going to decline. He's older now. I just don't think he's quite as good as he used to be. It's just kind of how it is. You also see Michael King from the trade, the Juan Soto trade. I think he's going to be amazing. I think he's going to be the 3 starter if this team makes the playoffs. And Johnny Brito. Another thing, though, you lost Juan Soto and you lost Josh Hader in the offseason. Tatis is a big bounce back candidate. You got Xander Bogaerts, you got Ha-Seong Kim, you got Manny Machado. Those are 3 really good guys. Jackson Merrill looking to be the starting center fielder on this team. And you're giving the catcher opportunity to Luis Campusano. Overall, I think Tatis is going to lead in WAR. Manny Machado in second, Ha-Seong Kim in third. In the second place in the division, I have the Arizona Diamondbacks going 86 and 76. They made it to the World Series last year. They were really good. And then they go out and they add a starting pitcher in Eduardo Rodriguez. They add Eugenio Suarez via trade to play third base. And they also add Jock Peterson to platoon and play some DH. This team is really good with Corbin Carroll. They got Christian Walker, who's a great hitter, Ketel Marte. And then the rotation of Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Eduardo Rodriguez in your top 3. Brandon Pfaadt, hoping he can continue that. And also the Diamondbacks are very good. I have their top 3 WAR being Corbin Carroll, Gabriel Moreno, and Zach Gallen. As the top team in the NL West, last but not least, the LA Dodgers. I have them going 102 and 60. I have them, they're insane. They signed Ohtani to a massive deal in the offseason. That was the headlining move. They also signed Teoscar Hernandez, traded for Tyler Glass now. They re-signed Kershaw, which was big. This team is very good. An unfair top three of Betts, Ohtani, Freeman, and then you even go Will Smith, Max Muncy, Teoscar Hernandez as your 4, 5, 6. You have James Outman, who's pretty good. Gavin Lux, who's pretty good. You have Chris Taylor and Enrique Hernandez. And your rotation of Glasnow, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who I somehow haven't mentioned. Bobby Miller is really good. And Gavin Stone. You have Kershaw coming back in August. Buehler coming back sometime in May or June. This team is very good. It's difficult to beat them. And I have Mookie Betts leading in WAR, Tyler Glasnow being a Cy Young contender coming in second, and Freddie Freeman coming in third. I have the wild card matchups. The division winners in the AL being the Astros in the 1 seed, Orioles in the 2 seed, Twins in the 3 seed. Winners in the NL, Braves 1 seed, Dodgers 2 seed, Cubs 3 seed. And I have the Yankees at the 4, the Mariners at the 5, and the Rangers at the 6 seed, with the Blue Jays 1 game out, Rays being 5 games out, Guardians being 6 games out. In the NL, I have the Phillies 4 seed, Diamondbacks 5 seed, Reds sneaking in at 81 and 81, with the Padres and the Brewers 1 game out, Mets 2 games out, Cardinals and Giants 3 games out, Marlins 5 games out, and the Pirates 6 games out. I think this NL wildcard race is going to be incredibly close, and I do think that the Cincinnati Reds will come through. In the wildcard series, Twins versus Rangers. I've got the Twins winning in three games, winning 2-1. I think the defending champions, it's just like who's their ace? Scherzer and DeGrom are going to come back. Are they going to be the same? Nathan Eovaldi as well. But the Twins have an amazing top 3 with Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, and Bailey Ober. I just don't see you beating that in a 3-game series. Then in the other AL matchup, Yankees as the 4 seed versus the 5 seed Mariners in New York. I think the rowdy crowd in New York is going to will them to victory, especially if Garrett Cole is healthy. Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, and then Luis Castillo and George Kirby is going to be an unbelievable pitching matchup, but I think the Yankees offense edges out the victory there. NL wildcard is Cubs versus Reds. The Cubs would have Imanaga and Steele going, and I just like the Reds offense more. I think the 6-seeded Reds beat the Cubs 2-0 in the wildcard series. I think Nick Martinez gets game 1. Nick Martinez gets game 1, and then probably Hunter Green or Frankie Montas in game 2, unless Lodolo is having such an elite season. But I think it's probably going to be Montas in game 2. I just think the Reds offense is really good, and I think Elly De La Cruz carries them to a win. And then Phillies Diamondbacks, an NLCS rematch with the Phillies at home. I think they're going to sweep Wheeler, Nola, Gallen, and Merrill Kelly. I just think the Phillies are better. I think the Phillies are elite. And then the ALDS, Astros, Yankees. I have the Astros winning in 5. They're going to have Verlander back and McCullers back at that point. So it's Framber Valdez game 1, maybe Verlander game 2, McCullers game 3, Javier game 4, and then back to the top of the lineup, top of the rotation, unless Hunter Brown is elite. One of those guys goes to the bullpen. I think the Yankees offense is really good. I just think the Astros are too good. I think the Yankees are going to be able to pull out 2 victories in the series, in a 5-game series. Orioles versus Twins. I have the Twins winning that series 3-2 as well. I just like the Twins offense. I think the Orioles offense is very good. I like the Twins offense, and I think the fact of the matter is the way it's set up, Pablo Lopez can go game 1. And even if he can't, you can go with a bullpen game in game 1. The Twins bullpen's really good. Orioles have a good top 3, but I think you can get to their 4 starter. I think you can get to their bullpen. I love the Twins offense this year. I think they beat out the Orioles and get to the ALCS. In the NLDS, it's Braves Phillies. I think the Braves finally conquer the Phillies in 4 games in a 5-game series, but they win in 4. And I think the Dodgers are going to sweep the Reds. I think the Glasnow, Yamamoto, Bobby Miller, or Glasnow, Yamamoto, Kershaw, or Glasnow, Yamamoto, Buehler, whatever combination of those 3 is winning this series in a sweep versus the Reds. I like the Reds, but I just think the Dodgers are way too good to lose to the Reds this year. Before I talk about the ALCS, I do still think the Reds could win. Anything can happen in a playoff series. I just think the Dodgers are going to win. ALCS, it would be Astros, Twins. I truly do believe that the Houston Astros will win this series in 6. I just believe in the Astros bullpen a little bit more. Once you get to the 7th inning, it's over. I believe in the Astros bullpen, and I also believe in the depth in the rotation a little bit more than the Twins. They both had to play through a 5-game series. The Twins also had to play the maximum amount of games. The Twins had to play in the wild card series. They went to 3. They had to play in the DS. They went to 5. They got all the way here. They scratched and clawed their way to the ALCS. I just think the Astros' depth pieces are just much better. The NLCS would be Dodgers Braves once again. And I think the Dodgers win in 5. I just think the Dodgers are so good this year, specifically with the rotation. Like, it's just unbelievable. You go through that 3-game series, who starts game 1? It's either Kershaw or Buehler or Bobby Miller even. And then you go back to Glasnow, Yamamoto. It's just, the rotation is really good. And that top 3 on the offense can hit off of anybody. I like the Braves. I think Strider, Max Fried, and Charlie Morton or Chris Sale is good, but it's just not quite the Dodgers rotation. Their offense is good. It's just not quite the Dodgers top 3 gauntlet of a lineup, as it's going to be Dodgers Astros in the World Series. I've got the Dodgers and the Astros in the World Series, and I have the Dodgers winning the World Series in 7 games over the Houston Astros. A rematch of 2017 from 2017 was 7 years ago now. That's crazy. I have the Dodgers getting their revenge, winning in 7. I like the Astros. I think these are the 2 deepest teams in baseball right now when it comes to their rotation and ability to withstand injuries. They're both really good at developing pitching. Both of the teams offensively are really good. I just think the Dodgers are a deeper offensive team, and I think their rotation is deeper, and I just think they're winning this game in 7. I think the World Series MVP will be Teoscar Hernandez for no particular reason. I'm feeling Teoscar Hernandez winning the World Series MVP. Speaking of MVPs, these are the players who I think will win the awards. In the AL, I think Julio Rodriguez will win MVP. With some other guys, I think Royce Lewis has a chance. I really do believe in Royce Lewis, but the other 10 guys I have written out are Bobby Witt Jr., Juan Soto, Aaron Judge. I had Corey Seager at first. My original guess was Corey Seager, but he had that hernia surgery. I'm like, it might take a little bit of time. He didn't get to have spring training. Yordan Alvarez, who's a DH. Mike Trout, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Jose Ramirez, and Adley Rutschman. I also think Gunnar Henderson has a chance, but I think Julio Rodriguez wins the AL MVP. In the NL, I 100% believe Mookie Betts will win MVP. He's going to be the shortstop. He's going to be doing all these important things. Acuna had a little bit of a knee issue, and I'm not 100% confident in Tatis. But in second, I have Tatis. Third, Acuna. Then I have Lindor, Corbin Carroll, Freddie Freeman, Manny Machado, Sean Murphy, Bryce Harper, and Trey Turner. If Yuri Perez is healthy, I really do believe he could be an MVP candidate. Ellie De La Cruz is another guy that I'm like, he could potentially put himself in that top 10. The AL Cy Young Award is going to go to Luis Castillo. I think he's finally going to win. He's been a guy who I thought was going to win so many years in a row. I think he's finally going to get his shine. I think Pablo Lopez is going to come in second. He had really good expected stats last year, and he underperformed in them. I think he's an elite pitcher, and I think he's going to just miss it. Corbin Burns third, moving to a new league. A lot of batters haven't seen him a lot. I think it's going to give him an advantage. Kevin Gausman in fourth, I think is a big maybe because he might be injured. George Kirby is my 5th pick, and then Rodon would be in 6th. If in the event that Gausman struggles, I think Rodon is there. In the NL, I have Zach Wheeler finally winning a Cy Young. He's going to pitch 200-plus innings and have an elite season. And I think second is going to be Strider. I think Strider's just going to miss out because of ERA and innings pitched. Third is going to be Freddie Peralta, in my opinion. I think he's a Cy Young contender. I just don't know that he'll win it necessarily. In fourth, I originally have Yuri Perez. That's the guy that's here. I think Yuri Perez is going to be the future of the league when it comes to pitching. Him and Strider. And then I have Logan Webb 5th, who came in second last year. But if Yuri Perez can't win it, if Yuri Perez is injured and can't really pitch, I'm going to have to go with Tyler Glasnow in 4th. I'm actually going to make that change. Tyler Glasnow is beating out Logan Webb for fifth place. AL Rookie of the Year, I have Evan Carter winning Rookie of the Year. I just think he showed a lot in his little bit of time in the big leagues a year ago, and he's going to continue to prove that was not a fluke. I have Willie Abreu being a guy who can win. I really believe in him. Junior Caminero, I think, will become the starter by June and have a chance. If Jackson Holiday, Wyatt Langford make the opening day rosters, their respective opening day rosters, they're also guys who could be in the conversation. Colt Keith is another guy in that conversation, and I feel like I'm forgetting somebody who should be in this conversation, but I'm not 100% sure. NL Rookie of the Year, I've got Yoshinobu Yamamoto winning. He was the best pitcher in Japan. Obviously, he got paid $325 million for a reason, and if he's a Cy Young candidate, where I think he could be, I got Yamamoto as NL Rookie of the Year, which begs the question, should the Japanese players be allowed to win Rookie of the Year since they've been professionals for 6 years? It's a good question. Jackson Chourio, I think, is going to be really good and would be second. I think Shota Imanaga is going to be third in Rookie of the Year. I think he's a really good pitcher. I think Kyle Harrison has potential to win it. And then Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens, James Wood are three guys who are I don't know that they're making the opening day roster, but I think if they're up mid-season, could be in contention. And then AL Manager of the Year, I think, is going to end up going to the Mariners manager who gets back into the playoffs, or Aaron Boone, or the Mariners manager Scott Servais, or Aaron Boone, who gets the Yankees back into the postseason. Those are the two main guys. If Stephen Vogt gets the Guardians into the playoffs, or if AJ Hinch can get the Tigers into the playoffs like people are expecting, he could win it as well. I think in the NL, if the Reds are able to sneak into the playoffs, David Bell wins it. I really think that. But if the Cubs, I think the Cubs, Craig Counsell is going to win Manager of the Year since the Cubs are going to win the division. I think the Reds manager is going to come in second. Other guys who I think can win are Carlos Mendoza of the Mets, since they might make it in, or Mike Shildt of the Padres if they make it in, or I think Pat Murphy is the name of the Brewers manager if they make it in. Any of those teams, if they make it into the postseason. My all MLB teams, team 1, in my opinion, will be Luis Castillo as starting pitch. My 5 starting pitchers are going to be Luis Castillo, Pablo Lopez, Zach Wheeler, Spencer Strider, and Corbin Burns. Those are the 5 guys I believe will be on the all MLB team as the starters. It's just like my Cy Young picks, my top Cy Young picks. My relievers, Yohan Duran and Josh Hader, the closers for 2 of the top teams in baseball. My best catcher in the league this year will be Sean Murphy. First base, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Second base, Marcus Semien. Third base, Manny Machado. Shortstop, Mookie Betts. 3 outfielders, Fernando Tatis Jr., Julio Rodriguez, and Juan Soto. And at DH, I have Yordan Alvarez. My all-MLB team 2 is going to be Freddie Peralta, Kevin Gausman, George Kirby, Carlos Rodon, and Yuri Perez was there. The other guy would be Tyler Glasnow, would replace Yuri Perez, and if Gausman is injured, which I don't think is supposed to be for the full season, it would probably be maybe even Yamamoto or somebody else. I don't know. But yes, Yuri Perez and Gausman. Tyler Glasnow is the guy who can replace them, or Logan Webb. My 2 relievers, Andres Munoz and the returning Edwin Diaz. The second team catcher, Adley Rutschman. First base, Freddie Freeman. Second base, Gleyber Torres, I think is going to have a strong year. Third base, Austin Riley. Shortstop, Francisco Lindor. The outfield, Ronald Acuna Jr., Aaron Judge, and Mike Trout. And the DH, Kyle Schwarber. Overall, I do think that is my final predictions for the 2024 MLB season. That is a wrap.